Welcome to The Big Break Show, a podcast where we discuss short-term rentals, entrepreneurship, life, mindset, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Rafa Loza and Jesse Vasquez.
What's up, everybody? We're here again in our awesome podcast, The Big Break Show, and we all know it's awesome because we bring in people we care about, people we know personally, and people that we know can add value to everybody's lives. So I'm here with the man, Mr. Vasquez Jesse. What is up, brother?
Jesse Vaseline. You know, people used to call me that in high school. They'd be like,
Jesse
"Hey, Jesse
Vaseline?
Vaseline." Like, I think it was like a
you
joke.
Walk around with your vapor up thing or what?
Bro. I think this is what they were trying to say, like Jesse Vaseline. For those of you that are not watching this on YouTube, you're not going to get the gestures that I just made. But yeah,
Jesse used to walk around with a bottle of Vaseline in the left pocket and a bottle of vapor up in the right.
Oh, that's funny. How'd you know that, man? You're absolutely right. Yeah, you know what? I today was a really good episode. I don't know Dan personally. You do, and you guys have built a relationship at yet another meetup. And if you guys see the common theme with what we have rolling out right now is that a lot of these folks that are connecting are meeting, Rafa's meeting through networking, which is why it's such an important piece. But I have a feeling, dude, that you and Dan are going to be doing deals together at a certain point in your life. I don't know if it'll be right now, but at some point.
100%.
Rafa's definitely going to be living on Dan's boat in North Carolina. I mean, you're not going to be living on the boat. He's going to be living next door to Dan. And you guys will hear about that in this episode. But yeah, it was a good conversation, man. I particularly liked when he talks about, because he's done a bunch of fix and flips and the contracting side of, there's some really cool tips that you guys will want to hear about just going into Home Depot or Lowe's and connecting with folks that are there, but also red flags to look for when you're hiring a contractor. Stuff that you don't necessarily think about. I thought that was pretty cool.
You know, we never have structured conversations when we come into these recordings, right? I don't like to have structured conversations because I like to go to the conversation because you don't know where it's going to go. Right. And with Dan, I brought him on because I got to meet him. We became friends. Like, we're really good friends now. I spent a couple of days at his house, spent the day on the boat. We just, had a great time. I saw his investments. I saw his boutique hotels. And so I wanted him to come in to talk about boutique hotels. And yet, because we don't have structure, the conversation went into contractors, and he dropped a ton of good knowledge on contractors and how to manage teams and what he's got going on. I mean, this is what it's about. I just like people to be able to learn, pick up key things here and there, and not just come in and take a bunch of notes, just listen to it, enjoy the show, have conversations. And this is one of those episodes. Dan, I mean, I think he was great. I think he gave great information. And I'm very happy that he came on. And I know we're going to do a future one with him and his wife and just talk about operations with the boutique hotels. She's the brains behind operations and design and everything. So that's going to be a future episode, man. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are going to get some pretty cool information on this. Not only that, just he's got a pretty cool story of, just like most people, education, going into something else and finding the niche and kind of moving from there. So, yeah.
And he's got a ton of content and good value out there. So, just keep an eye out for him. Check the show notes for all his social media. But without further ado, Mr. Dan Tollens. Hey guys, Rafa here. A lot of you guys have been asking me if I have a course, if I teach, if I mentor my short-term rental business, and the answer is I do actually. I just recently released my very first course. It has about 120 videos. If you're part of the monthly membership, we are adding 2 new videos a month in current issues or projects that I'm working on within the short-term rental business. And we do 1 monthly call live where you have access to me to ask me all the questions you want. So if you're interested in joining the course or if you want any more info, click the link below. It is application only. We only open it to a certain amount of students every month because we want people who are serious, who really want to be a part of this, who actually want to take their short-term rental business and grow it, or are starting from scratch and want to learn how to actually acquire properties doing rental arbitrage. If that's you, if you're serious and you really want to do this, click the link below, schedule a call with me or my team, and we'll get you going. Now back to the show. Dan, what's up, brother? I'm so happy that you're here today, man. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. Before we get on the show, Jesse, you want to say hello, just in case? I don't know. I was about to get straight into it. Didn't even allow hellos and intros.
Yeah. No, I'm not too familiar with Dan, other than what you've shown. I saw that you guys are doing a bunch of posts together. So yeah, Dan, I mean, let everybody know who you are, man, what you got going on, and we'll dive into the weeds. You gave us the free reign to ask you any questions, so we're gonna ask you some pretty heavy questions going forward, man.
That's right, man. Go for it. Yeah. Well, good to meet you guys. And, thanks for having me on. And, Yeah, just happy to be involved of y'all's movement, man. So anyhow, my name is Dan Tollens. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. Recently relocated to Wilmington, North Carolina. We've been pursuing boutique hotels and trying to be on the forefront of that movement and associating ourselves with people that are also in this so early. We also do some new construction. We're doing most of those currently new construction to sell, but our model really is to do new construction to keep and rent. And then we also have some other symbiotic businesses that kind of talk right with what we're doing. So we have a construction company, a property management company, as well as a roll-off dumpster business that is thriving in the Charleston market. So a lot of moving and shaking. And we've gone from, flipping houses 40 or 50 a year for the last 3 or 4 years to primarily really focusing on the commercial real estate and looking at some multifamily, some self-storage, boutique hotels, stuff of that nature.
Man, you're doing it all.
Yeah, dude, he's got a ton of stuff going on. It's funny how you made that seem so simple. And I'm thinking like, bro, you have a badass business going on. You know, everybody listening, like me and Dan, we met at a mastermind, and we became, again, the same topic, right? Masterminds. And we became friends. I just spent a couple of days back at his house out in Carolina Beach and Wilmington, stuff like that, hanging out, seeing his operations. And I was like, dude, you got some pretty cool shit going on. So that's why I wanted to bring you on the show so we can talk about it a little bit, get a little bit into boutique hotel space, because, you know, you're probably one of the only other people that I know that are actually in it, that are actually not just in it, but you're crushing it, right? And so let's talk about that for a little bit. I want to know how you transitioned, because I know you have like businesses. How did you actually start? Like, can we go back to the beginning? Did you start with real estate? Did you start with business? Like, let's get into the actual story here.
Yeah. So after college, moved back to Charleston, had no idea, what I was going to do, and went and started volunteering at my high school, coaching basketball, where I ran into an old friend who had the very first TV show about flipping houses called Flip This House. And I went to him and said, hey, man, got a college degree, just got done, playing basketball in college, no idea what I'm going to do. And he said, well, you should come be a part of our team, but you probably should learn the construction side. So I got involved in the condotel and condo conversion movement back in the early 2000s, where they were converting, apartments into condos, and then also doing kind of a similar thing with hotels, where they actually were selling off rooms, and then kind of similar model to the boutique thing. But so did that for a little while, and then slid over to real estate sales, and that really wasn't for me. And then got into managing their job sites for their TV show, and did that for a while, and that kind of ran its course. And then I slid over to HOA management, which was absolutely miserable. But it ended up getting me involved in construction and janitorial services and landscape services. So, we were making shit for money, and went to our boss, said, hey, there's got to be something we can do to, either take on some more responsibility, something to get a pay increase. And she basically said, listen, you're going to need to start a service-based business for these HOAs. We're kind of capped out on what we can pay you. So we, started doing that, and, that kind of was going really, really well. And it got to a point to where, I was making 3 or 4 times what I was making with my day job. So I made the decision to leave and go manage that. And, instead of working, 40, 50 hours a week, was working probably closer to 20. And then while that was going really, really well, I met my wife, Cassie, and she was a part of that. And she was, I think 8 months pregnant and got fired. And so when she got fired, then our boss decided that we were a threat, because she had the same side hustle, and she started canceling all of our contracts. And so, we kind of had to pivot, figure out what was going to be next, and started doing handyman services and just different stuff like that. And started working with another gentleman and helped him kind of build his property management business, and did all their turns. And it went from 10 properties that they're managing to over 700. So we were their only vendor, their only contractor. And with that, I had to go get qualified. So I went and got my builder's license. And so, you just are around more people and seeing, the other side of things. And it's kind of a theme throughout our career was, we had to figure out, who was making all the money, and then, all right, we need to go do that. We need to go do that. Let's get on this. And then, so we got into flipping for other people as a contractor, and, seeing where, the payout was, $250 on a job, and I'm getting 25 grand, and the other person, the owner, is getting 200 grand. I was like, what the hell? I just did all the work, not obviously not realizing the financial side of things, but, so, we eventually branched off and partnered with another gentleman, and he had an inside scoop on foreclosures. And so we started doing some of those, and saw how much money we were spending on trash. We had an opportunity to get into the trash business, and we bought a company a little over 2 years ago that had 25 cans. And now it's got, we're teetering right around 200 cans and 5 trucks. So, wow. So that business, it was a one-man show, and now we've got 5 drivers and a GM and a service provider. So that's a great business. I only work on that business about an hour a week, and then the other time is really spent on real estate, and most importantly, family and raising my kids. So real estate has been the vessel that's kind of really changed our path. And my day typically starts with getting up and getting the boys to school, and then I'll put in a couple hours working on me, whether that's walking or lifting weights or riding a Peloton or some educational stuff. And then I start my work day, around 10, and then I try to be done by 2:00, which is when the boys come back home. So, not really putting in a whole lot of time anymore. We're kind of set up. We got, really good team, support team, good staff, good, great family life. So, that's kind of how things started. And then we built up, as we were doing the flips, we started keeping some things, and we built up, we were mid-30s of single family Airbnbs in the Charleston market. And we've been vacationing to Carolina Beach for 5 or 6 years. And we were at a mastermind last March, and just happened to be about short-term rentals and looking to see what was available at Carolina Beach. We wanted to get another one, and saw that the first hotel that we bought had just come available. And so we made a run at that, ended up beating out, I think, 18 or 19 other offers. And we put an escalation clause with no cap, and they said they didn't want another dollar more than asking, and that Cassie and her mom had really sealed the deal on that. So we like the model of having, multiple doors under one roof. And, shortly thereafter, we bought that one. We bought another one street over that we've had for about a year. That it's been a little bit of a pain just doing the full reno and dealing with the different municipalities and building department and stuff of that nature. But, it's just, part of the experience. And then we picked up another one in the mountains that Rafa, you guys came and saw and visited. And then, I think maybe during that trip or right before, we got a 4th one under contract, again at the beach, right across the street from the beach. So we'll have 3 all within about a 2-mile radius that are all either across the street from the beach or 1,000 feet away.
Man, that's a lot of stuff to unpack. What, out of all those businesses, did you feel like gravitated towards real estate, or was it just like to make money? Because you kind of talked about it earlier. Was that something that you felt like you started to love over time, or was it like a money thing that you then started to love? Because I think flipping is one thing. I'm actually working on a couple flips. One of them I've actually had for a year. Worst experience in my life. Went through a couple different crews. Like, it was just everything that you hear from like a noob. I learned a lot of that stuff in the last year. And I think that business it could be tough, but was that something that you learned early on, like how to manage crews, how to connect with people? Do you learn these things hands-on? Did you fall in love with that process, or was it just something for like to make money?
A lot of it was trial and error. I knew early on, just from my upbringing and my childhood experience, and how much that my folks worked. My mother was a nurse, so she worked typically 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., and then the old man worked, 7 to whatever, 2, 3, 5, 6, whatever. So I know I spent a lot of time being the oldest sibling, monitoring or raising my younger siblings, every day during the week for, a few hours. And so I knew kind of, you learn a lot of things of how you don't want things done. And I knew as a parent that I wanted to be as present as possible. And I had to figure out how to do that. And I knew, being an entrepreneur was going to help, pave that path a little bit. Now, did it take, a lot more than your typical 8-hour day in the very beginning? Absolutely. But Cassie and I have worked together from day one when we were working for other people, and now, working together. So we've always kind of had that work-life balance, but also realizing that the kids come first. So, for us, it was more not necessarily about the money. I mean, obviously that helps, but it was more about the time freedom to eventually be able to work when we want, where we want, with who we want. And but most of the stuff that we've learned has been trial and error, just like playing college basketball. I learned, how not to talk to people or how not to treat people, or right ways of rewarding people, or just a lot of just different things of just different strategies of how to coach people or talk to people. And I ended up, getting involved in construction early, and was one of those things that I just really enjoyed, the fact that you could see, the daily progression of whatever it is that you were working on. You could start the day with no floors in somewhere. You could put the floors in and trim it out and get it all, caulked and painted in the day. And you look at, the instant gratification, of that process was something, that I enjoyed. And I thought, learning that side of things really led into being, an expert in the real estate space, just being that so many people that buy and sell real estate have no idea, what it's comprised of, as far as the parts and pieces that actually make a house. So to know, all of that, and then having Cassie as the realtor, she's able to, learn all of the lingo and all the processes as well. So, that's been part of our success, is when it's done and ready, she'll come in and stage it, which she's an exceptional designer. And then, she knows everything that was done. So, she can talk about things that people are uncomfortable with as far as, crawl space, or, what's code for, electric or plumbing or HVAC, or talk about a roof, or, whatever. So, I think for us, it just kind of has been, the availability to pivot and not necessarily be locked in on steady income or, one certain career path, but also, just that's part of, again, being in masterminds, is also figuring out what other people are doing, that might, pique your interest, or that might make you a little bit more resilient or streamline some of your businesses. And I think that speaks to, how we've got connected, obviously through the legacy group, but, some other different masterminds. So, eventually it became, about the money, but to start out, no, it was more about figuring out how, we could be available, for ourselves. And then, as the kids kind of came along, to be there for them.
Got you. Yeah, that sounds awesome, man. I think, again, like flipping, that whole thing is a pain in the ass, but I mean, forced appreciation, learning how to do that, getting that money, that's definitely the way to go, man. And I get where your head's at too, where being able to see something like a complete mess, and then 3 months later, 6 months later, it's turns, it's a completely different thing, which is pretty cool. Was that cool to be a part of a TV show? Did you realize back then that flipping TVs would be, flipping that, like those kinds of shows would become so big?
I'll be honest with you. I really didn't. And, I kind of had a very abrupt exit. Was, as you can see my haircut now, this is how I prefer to keep my hair. And if you ask my wife or other folks, they prefer me to have a full head of hair. So we were working on a house in Charleston, and it was, the middle of friggin' August or something. It was 100 degrees, hotter than bejesus. I'm, managing the construction site, and I went home, took a shower. I was like, man, I got to get rid of this full head of hair. So I came home and shaved my head, and the producers were pissed. That the guy I was working for was like, what the hell did you do? I'm like, man, just go get a wig, man. It's TV shit. If we got to reshoot something, let's have some fun with it. But no, I had no clue. This thing would blow up to what it was. And, unfortunately, for him, his talents were mismanaged. Otherwise, I think he probably would still be on, but, it just ultimately didn't work out. And, for us, we obviously there are a lot of shows and podcasts and YouTube channels on real estate and fix and flipping. And, we went through last year, we shot like a little 6-episode YouTube series that we self-funded, but it kind of dives into all aspects of real estate investing from, working your 9 to 5, being, your member of the general public, and how you too can kind of get involved. And what are the first things that you can do is, get out and go to your free local meetups about real estate and get educated on it, and things to watch on YouTube, and then kind of go into all the different processes of, flipping a single family house, having other businesses, getting into hotels, working in different markets, new construction, all that type of stuff. And now, it's been another year. We're looking at doing, kind of, hey, here's where things are in the second year. And here's how we're expanding our hotel portfolio. And here's how we're expanding, some of these other businesses. And now we're doing some multifamily stuff or some land development stuff. And, we just like sharing our story, and hopefully people are getting value of it. But no, to answer your question, had no idea that there'd be as many as there are now, for sure.
So Dan, actually, one of the things I did want to do for a future episode was have you come in here with Cassie, because I want you guys to talk about, because a lot of the stuff that you just said right now, right, with family and stuff like that, and how you guys work together, that's really intriguing. We've had a couple other couples on the show who've gone over certain things. And we always like to give perspective on how it is to work with your significant other, right? That work-life balance between personal and business. I know you guys have a really good story because I heard it out at the hotel boot camp that we were just at. So if you're up for it, man, yeah, I'd like to formally just invite the invitation now for a future podcast for both of you together on it, because I think that would be very beneficial and very cool for the listeners to get some insight on it. But anyway,
happy to.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. But aside from that, so, one of the really cool things that I like is how you just went from one thing to the other, right? You started in where you saw something that interested you, you went and asked and you learned, and then you saw something that interested you and then you jumped into it. You've never been afraid to just go from one thing to the other. I want to talk a little bit about that mindset behind that. Is it something that you feel that like you just always had, or is it something that you had to learn? Because a lot of people are scared, right? You don't just jump from one job to the next. You don't just start a new business because you feel the need to. People don't just really go out and do that. And the majority of our listeners, I don't want to say they're new, but the whole premise behind the podcast is mindset, right? Business, entrepreneurship. And this is a major component of it, having the will or the mind to be able to say, hey, I think it's time to jump ship and try something different in this aspect, right? For example, you guys got into the flipping business, and then you realized, wait, there's a business that's a symbiotic business that can go right along with our business now, which is the trash business. Nobody in their right mind would ever decide to go out and buy bins or even buy an entire business for something like that. So can we talk a little bit about like I just want your perspective. Like you can go as deep as you want, like your mindset behind it all. Was it something that just always came natural to you? Was it something that you had to learn to do?
I think I'd probably attribute it to, from playing sports, right? If you're, I grew up playing basketball and, played hoops in college, so it paid my tuition. But, part of that is, you just got to go out and be yourself when you're playing sports, and eventually, you'll have success or you won't. You'll try something different. But, for me, having success and having the ease of talking to people, and just trying to figure out, what's the next play, what's, this and that, or watching film, and then just trying to figure out, all the things that correlated with sports as far as, being prepared for, whatever opponent or the next season, training for that, and just trying to figure out how to turn that into a career. Wasn't, that's why I went back and started, coaching high school hoops for 12 years. Not as my day job, just, volunteered. But eventually that kind of gave me, the mindset and the courage that, if I can do that, then I can figure this out. But, really the main component was when I was working at this HOA company and seeing the yahoos that were coming in and getting these, $10, $20, $30,000 a month checks for sweeping hallways and cutting grass and changing light bulbs and picking up dog shit, and they're missing their teeth and they're, probably drunk or high. And I was like, this is my competition. I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me, man. I went to college to pick up dog shit and change light bulbs. And I was like, I wasn't too proud, So I think ultimately it was just, evaluating, again, the competition, but also having, confidence in myself and believing that I was going to succeed. I won in all aspects of sports. So it might have been, I'm just not a pessimist. I don't really go into things, or didn't go into things thinking there was any, way I would fail. Now underwriting commercial deals, you always got to go in underwriting super conservative and, expecting, things to not work out, but knowing that there is, way more upside. So, I just think that the main thing was just self-belief. And then again, having, Cassie right there as well, just, continually speaking it into existence until it, things kind of really took off. And then, as you're in certain industries, again, the boutique hotel space, outside of the Patels, there's not a whole lot of folks that are doing this stuff right now. And, I think it's extremely important for those of us that are to, align. It's not you're my competition. It's like, dude, we're all trying to win, man. We can all eat. There's enough out here for us to all be successful in it. And why not share, what it is that we're doing, to help each other get wherever we're trying to get to that much faster.
I love the abundant mentality, right? The abundance mentality. There's enough to give. There's not that scarcity mindset. Like the idea of knowing that you can grow and be bigger with other people. Like I love that, man. I think it's one of the big reasons why I'm so attracted to you and why we become really good friends, because you're just very giving. You're very willing to share. So that alone, I think, requires so much growth from people. So many people grow up thinking, oh, I don't want to share, right? Like I get people telling me all the time, why are you telling people where you're at? Or what are you doing? Why are you teaching people? And I'm like, well, because it doesn't really matter. Like there's plenty enough to go around. So I've got a question around the sports thing. Did that contribute in any way with your business aspect of looking at things like team playing, going through hard times, all that stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're going to have, that's the first thing we look at is, how does this person fit in with the team? Nobody works for us. Everybody works with us. We all have a common goal of being successful in our own right. If you look at even, the cleaners, they want the room to look, as perfect as they can get it. So the guest has an exceptional experience, and then, hopefully, they'll get tipped or whatever. And, for us, that's just a very small component to how the business operates. But we ask for their feedback. There's so many little just details of being a business owner or being a leader, of involving everybody's, opinion of how things are going. Like that, with our dumpster business, I talk with our guy, our GM, our operations guy. And, one of the first questions is always, how's the chemistry, how's the flow, cause you got 6 dudes working together that are driving trucks, those, they got a lot of drama. These dudes are on the phone all day, every day. And, they can get, they can have some beef between them that's not necessary because they don't like the way the guy talks on the CB or, who freaking knows? But that's been the biggest thing, is having somebody who can, control all the different egos and different personalities. And, for me, I'm a good BS reader. So that's one of my special talents, is being able to know if somebody's full of shit or not. And if they're trying to rip somebody off, or if they're a good fit for the group, or, if they're worth my time. So, but yeah, sports definitely major contributing factor of, how to talk to people and check in on them. Because there is a lot more that goes on than just work. I think, work just kind of has to fit into my lifestyle at this point in my life. But there's also people that aren't entrepreneurs, and you need those people in your business to be successful. Because if you had a whole business built around guys that only wanted to do their own thing, well, guess what? When the time comes, they're leaving, and then you're sitting there not knowing what to do or how to fill that void.
Yeah, I totally agree. One of my favorite things that you said, your competition was crackheads, and you're just like, I can come in and just show these guys up. Yeah,
like literally. Yeah. There was a guy. I'm not making this up, man. There was a HOA community that was having. It was like a $2 million renovation, and the builder came in every week to get a check. And I was like, how is this dude, like, he doesn't have enough money for payroll or whatever, like literally every week. And then like halfway through the project, like they ended up finding him sleeping in somebody's condo. The people showed up to vacation. And they're like, what is Rick doing sleeping on my sofa? And they're like, what are you talking about? And then sure enough, they show up, and old boy was passed out, and he was all, loaded up on recreational drugs. And I was like, oh my God, man. All right. And this dude's landed a $2 million renovation gig at cost plus 25%. It was like, dude, come on, man. Let's go capture some of this business. So yeah, that was one of the things kind of opened up my eyes. I was like, all right, the service industry, has a lot of room for improvement as far as, who's in charge and who's running these things, and having systems and processes and procedures and handbooks and all those things kind of in place. They do take people and time and money, but if you can go ahead and build that foundation, there's a lot of opportunity for folks.
100% agree.
Yeah, I think you and Rafa are like on point with that when it comes to building SOPs. It's probably why you guys bonded so much, right, Rafa? SOP.
Probably amongst everything else.
Yeah. Rafa's definitely an SOP guy. Yeah, you're right, man. This business, I talk to people all the time. Like for me, contractors that just show up on time, like give them a fucking raise, because it's hard to just have these guys show up on time, like literally.
Yeah.
And it's just small things that these guys sometimes, I see that there's a lot of opportunity, but at the end of the day, being a general contractor, you're taking care of a bunch of like teens in a way. And this is me talking to a bunch of people that have built businesses that are contractors, and they're just like, man, these dudes they're showing up drunk to work. They're doing all these things. And it's like, I'm having to babysit all these people, but also not upset them, so they still show up on time. So it's a lot of work, man. And I'm not saying every construction worker is like that, but that's just what I hear from the general, the GCs. It's just like, man, it's hard to find quality workers.
Yeah, that's just the general consensus. And and moving from South Carolina to North Carolina, I did not reciprocate my builder's license here because it kind of forced my hand to really focus on, building wealth and being a true real estate investor and business owner, and not just managing job sites and managing people and doing phone sales and, all that stuff. So it's helped us scale. We've had a lot of really strong teaching moments, we'll say. We grew a few more gray hairs over the last 12 months since we've moved, trying to bring some folks from South Carolina with us that some of those just didn't work out, or as we like to say, that relationship ran its course. So what we've done is, now that we've been here a year, and we're performing on closing commercial deals and doing new builds, and we're out in the community, is seeing what else is going on. We're in a market that is rapidly growing. It's probably 20 years behind Charleston. So, we wanted to be a part of that trend and not just watch it happen, but actually, be able to financially reward ourselves by being involved in the movement that's going on here. So we went out and we work with 3 different builders currently. We work with 3 different realtors as well. So we've tried, you find one person, you give them everything, and then they get overwhelmed, and then they're jumping from job to job, realizing that they're leaving one of your jobs to go to another job. So, yeah, I've linked up with some local young builders here that 2 of them are they're fantastic, and there's another guy who's a little bit younger, looking to be mentored a little bit. So, that was kind of something I had time to do and willing to kind of share my story and experiences. And I think also being, an investor now as a contractor and not dealing with the contractors, just realizing how important it is to pay them on time, and also setting the expectation of how payment works. And it's not, well, I got all this payroll, I need to pay it, but nothing got done, and explaining, hey, this is all paid based on progress, and it's not my decision, it's the bank's decision, because most of us are using other people's money for these, and they want to see photos every time they're sending you pictures, or every time they're sending you money, they got to have something to add to the file. And but there's just so much planning and communication that has to be done on the front side. And as you're in that honeymooning stage, or working with somebody new, and there's going to be things that pop up. It is real estate and construction and investing. Not everything goes as planned, but being able to have a calm mindset, not lose your mind, because that doesn't do anybody any good unless you're getting totally screwed over. But just being able to work past complications and not having to start all over again. But knowing when that time is right to pull the plug and move on.
There's a lot of issues, I guess, that come with learning how to manage contractors. Actually, it's funny, we have a meetup today down here. A guy's going to teach people how to manage and how to deal with contractors. What's one of the things that you've noticed that's like the hardest to do or to put up with, that someone that's like trying to learn or figure out how to deal with the contractor? Is it setting up the expectation up front? Is it making sure that the work gets done before paying? Is it negotiating payments with the contractor? Like what's been the most difficult thing in your journey that you would say would be figure this out, everything else would be easier?
I think number one, there's a lot of contractors that, when you start hearing negative stories, is the contractor took my money and never showed up. Right. So, when I was working for folks, we did have a mobilization fee. So when we signed a contract with somebody that, there was going to be a 10 or 20% deposit. And, that was simply what was required for us to keep the payroll going. But I would say, I wouldn't agree to any type of deposits now. I mean, that's how we do it now, but we do offer to pay them weekly. So, but if it's one of those where you're going to pay them monthly, then there's going to be a deposit required. But I think the main thing is just talking about money, what the expectation is. There's a lot of folks that, they're not only working on your job. So I think setting the expectation that, hey, I understand you're working for other people, but I do expect you to be here Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday or whatever you guys talk about, and not, all right, we just showed up and did demo on Monday and Tuesday, and well, we got another job we're going to be at, so we'll be back over here on Monday. Like, no, that just simply doesn't work. So I think having a defined scope of work, a defined budget, and pay schedule, and just kind of explaining what your expectations are, and realizing that not every contractor is going to be the right fit just because they're available. There's a reason that they're available. So that's another thing to really think about. It's like, well, why is this dude like able to start tomorrow? Like, the dude don't have work. You know what I mean? Like, is it because he's
is that a red flag, Dan?
Yeah, big time.
Is that a red flag to see a guy who's just like, yeah, I'll come start this tomorrow? That's what you would say, that would be a red flag.
Yeah, it's either because of quality of work or sobriety issues, or home life issues.
So, okay, what's the sweet spot then? Because you want someone to come in and do your work fast, right? Because now another red flag would be like, oh, we can't get started for another month.
Yeah, I think it's just, again, knowing what to expect. That you can't expect it to be an emergency on their end because it's poor planning on your end.
Yeah.
So I think just going in, and there's also, certain guys you can qualify again through meetups and different things of saying, hey, who have you used, and getting references. And again, not using one guy on every single job. Now, again, we were a pretty large operation, doing 50 homes in one market. And that was another thing, I was going and putting my eyes on all these every single day.
Yeah.
So being able to step out of that, and I put somebody in place to kind of manage that for me. And then, realizing I think commercial real estate was, we had enough. And that's the other thing. The money's good. How much money is enough money, and passive income? We've got some things that we've been able to stabilize that now, are sending us monthly checks or quarterly checks or whatever. And, got some other money working on the side. So I think just having a lot of different things, working a lot of different ways and not just really having one stream of income.
Yeah, different streams of revenue. Do you feel that other investors or other builders are willing to share contractors? Are they is it a thing, or is it like, no, it's my guy, don't touch him because it'll take work away from you type of deal? Because I feel like most of the investors that I know don't want to share those resources, even at meetups. They're like, nope, I can't tell you, or they'll stay kind of quiet, or they'll shy away from the question.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's something else. When we moved to a new market, well, I did two things. One, I kept doing some stuff in Charleston, so kept 2 out of the 3 crews busy. And then when we moved up here, one of my guys actually said that he was having a change in his marital status and was looking to leave town. So, well, I got some work, so we bought him a house, and he pays rent, but he's living up here and he's working on stuff. But before that, I just went to my all the different Lowe's in town, which was 3 or 4, and then also the Home Depot, and went to the pro desk and say, hey, who's in here spending the most amount of money? That shows up. And that's the other thing. Like, do you want somebody that's in Lowe's every single day? And it's like, this dude can't plan out his job. He's spending more time in the friggin' store than he is on the job. But there's also, guys that they plan that, right? They get the guys started, and then they're like, oh, I got to go to Lowe's. So, they don't have to be out there swinging a hammer with the guys too. So, but yeah, if you're at a meetup and people don't really want to share their resources, then, that's another thing is you just sit at Lowe's or Home Depot at the pro desk, or just in the parking lot and see how many cars come through that are stickered up, or just go out and talk to people.
That's actually a great tip, dude.
Yeah. Do you feel like they're pretty open to giving you information when you go to Lowe's and talk to them, or Home Depot? Absolutely.
Those folks are very incentivized. I shouldn't say very. They do have a bonus structure for them individually, and then 2 for their team. And that's actually where I got my my operator for the dumpster business. He got me to be the #1 commercial account in the Charleston area. So if you think about all the different things that, all the different commercial types of accounts you can think of, and to be #1 in the Charleston market was pretty incredible. And so, he got me hooked up on all types of rewards programs, and, I get money back, once or twice a year. It was twice a year. Now it's once a year. For every $1 I spend there, I think they send me 3.5 or 5% back. So, if you're spending a couple $100,000 at Lowe's, or $1 million a year at Lowe's, that's a pretty substantial refund check. But anyway, when he got me to that, I was like, all right, well, if you can do that, then we need to get you the hell out of Lowe's and come run our dumpster business. But he kind of shared what their bonus structure was. Like, I literally was giving him every piece of business I had, thinking that, they were more commission based than they really are. The maximum commission they can earn is like $300, and then the pro desk, if the whole team meets the goal, then they get like another $300. So their maximum monthly bonus commission is like $600.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit, dude! Like, I was thinking, I was spending, it was between $500,000 and $1 million a year at Lowe's, and like literally every single sale was through him, unless he was out sick or something. So, I was highly disappointed that he wasn't getting, more commission on that. But once we kind of figured that out, he was, oh, I can cut this price in half. And, hey, man, we're getting ready to do a reset on everything. How many of these vanities you want? I want all of them. We're resetting all of the appliances. How many you want? I want all of them. And, so he was able to hook me up on that. Like when we were doing, we do 50 houses a year. You got typically, 20 or 25 going on at any given time that are in different stages. So, whether it's they're under contract that you're selling, so you're going through the inspection process and making repairs, or something you just bought. So now you're getting it all staged and ready for the crews to come in there. And then, the other side where you're, balls deep in it, trying to get it knocked out. So, or something that's kind of on your radar, you're getting ready to close on. So, I don't even remember the original question, but
no, that was great, dude. You're giving a lot of good insight. I didn't even think this conversation was going to go in this direction. I want to talk about your boutique hotels, but this is really good because there's a lot to be said in terms of you're talking about 50 houses in 1 year. Like you have a pretty big thing going on, right? And I didn't even know that going to Lowe's was a thing to go and find a contractor till literally just now, because I've never needed one. I've always gotten it from referrals from other people. I didn't know that they even got paid commission. Like you're dropping some really good knowledge on here, and I really appreciate it. 50 houses a year, that's quite a bit. I mean, you're talking what, 2.5 a month or something, give or take, right?
Yep.
4 a month.
Something like that.
Right? Yeah, 4 a month.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you have to have your team down pretty good. How long did it take you to build this out and to get it going? I didn't know that you had that big of a system going. I thought you were just working on a couple of houses here and there. And I saw what you're doing in Wilmington, right? So, how long did it take you to build that system, and when did you get comfortable to actually start scaling it?
Well, that was the other thing was doing renovations, for people. Was that we had a little bit of on-job training as far as figuring out how to be a contractor and figuring out who could do what on somebody else's house versus one of my houses or one I was going to sell. So we had a couple of years of experience doing that, and then when we kind of shifted over to just doing our own thing, was we brought everybody with us and said, hey, no more client work, and so that's how we were able to kind of scale so quick. We started out with one and took like 3 weeks, made 18 grand or something. And it blew up really quick. Went from 1 to 8 to 10 to 25, like within 100 days. And so, we were able to, and again, that was one of those things, as you alluded to, as you're managing people, when they have to work, when clients are involved, you get one person, but, when they can work whenever they want, nights, weekends, they can be a little bit more comfortable. All of a sudden they're drinking on the job, or, smoking weed in the truck or whatever. So, you get a little thinned out. But then that opens the door for somebody else to kind of slide in. So, it got to the point where we had so much stuff going on, people were calling us, for work, cause they knew, one, we paid every week, and we always had something going on that they didn't have to worry about the customer, looking over his shoulder and asking them to fix this and fix that. But the thing about single family fix and flip, it's great money. But once that house is sold, that's it. It's a one and done, very transactional. And so for us, that's why we like the short-term rental. And that's why we like the boutique hotel. People are traveling more, since the pandemic. Everybody learned, they can pretty much, not everybody, but a majority of the folks can do their job from anywhere. And, we're trying to capitalize on that, and we're in a beautiful market. We love beaches and mountains, and, we like the uniqueness of it. So, it was just one of those things. We were sick of managing people and had an opportunity to do something that my wife really, really thoroughly enjoys. And as everybody knows, happy wife, happy life. So, she was wanting to be a little bit more involved on the decor. She likes, visiting people and a lot less client work as far as being a realtor. So, she was able to kind of fill that bucket for her, and then that gave me the time and space to get back to focusing on myself and my health and relationships, and just seeing where things kind of go.
That's awesome. I got a question. All these businesses that you're doing, all the trash business and all that stuff, like what is your favorite out of all these and why? Like what do you enjoy most out of it?
I probably would say, the real estate side, just for the people that I get to meet. The dumpster business is a long-term play for us. It was one of those things that we kind of got into as a retirement plan, somewhere to, one, to park some money, and two, to build something out, and also, offer some things for some folks. We've got two or three really great guys that I've been friends with for a really, really long time that work there and run that eliminates me from having to be involved in the day to day. So, that has this upside where, again, I can be involved in it if I really want to, but I don't need to be. So it's kind of best for me to just kind of stay away and really work on the branding and marketing side of things. And then the depreciation we get on that business is between $400,000 and $500,000 a year. So, that's a major play there. It started producing some cash flow. We let it kind of build itself, and then this next year it'll be paying out double what it is now. And then the hospitality business is fantastic. I love that it just it makes my life easier when my wife's excited to be involved and go visit people, and we like to travel, and we love people coming to the beach, and we want to see them happy. And then, the development and the new construction stuff kind of keeps me going. I like that because it's something I can go and check on. I don't have to be there every single day. I got, guys that are building these homes in 90 to 100 days. So it's a lot of progression fast, but it doesn't require me day to day. My daughter pretty much handles that for us. She was at Clemson for a couple of years and decided that wasn't for her. And so she's working with us right now, trying to figure out what she wants to do. She just went and got her real estate license. And in the meantime, she has helped with the social media for all of our boutique hotels. She also manages our long-term rentals. And then she does all the selections and communications with the builders as far as what we have going on and what's coming up. And eventually she'll handle all the draw requests and all that stuff too, but just trying to ease her into it. And, there's money there to spend. Why not keep it in the family? It's kind of very similar concept with having the management company that Cassie has. So, we do have, I guess you could say, third party management, but we own it. So the way that we structure our boutique hotels is, like an STR, I think management would be in that 20 to 25%. Some of them are even 30 at the beach here. So, what we did was, we structured hers to be, we pay her about half of what the going rate is. Then we also gave her some equity in the deal. So, she does have some upside on the exit, but then it also, increases our bottom line and cash flow. So, we get this fourth one up. I mean, just in management fees is like $400,000 that she pays her staff out of that, which is, it's, I don't want to say it's next to nothing because we have, stateside help. And that's, one of the things that kind of attracted, Rafa to us was figuring out how to incorporate VAs and automate some things. And, we've been able to, take some things over, the last 6 months and really plug them in. It's just changed our life. So, but yeah, again, we like the boutique hotel, but we have people that live on the island that are readily available. They're not staffed, but, if something comes up, they're available. So, but yeah, the trash business is great. I don't work in it a whole lot. The construction stuff is fun. Just to kind of stay up with trends and codes. And, like everything was tan for a long time, right? Tan and brushed nickel. Then it was gray and black. And now it's more of a little bit of gray, but more of the natural wood and whites and golds. And, so that's kind of cool. Having access to be on the forefront of trends. And that's, part of social media is having something to post and something to share. So, you can go out and see all these jobs, that does, pique people's interest is, just seeing, what's going on. And then, the other job that doesn't, financially pay, but, being available to be a parent, it's just great, whether my kids need me or not, just having the option to be here and spend time with them, and whether it's, fishing or going to the movies or bowling or laser tag or wrestling, whatever it is, training dogs, all those different things, or Water Wednesdays. Those are all very important things to us.
Dan, tell everybody what Water Wednesdays is, please, my dude, because, man, that's like amazing.
So, not sure if Rafa really shared where we live, but, as you kind of heard, we've worked our ass off to kind of be in the position that we are. And we live in a great house and a great community, and we are probably 500 yards off of the Intercoastal Waterway on a little inlet. And my backyard is really nice, and got a pool, and then you go, out the fence out the backyard, and then my boat is sitting there in the water. So we learned from a buddy of mine, Tim Vitale, who's local here to Wilmington. He's in the multifamily space. So if you're looking to get into multifamily, look up Tim Vitale. But anyhow, we met at my mastermind last year, and we kind of became friends, and we keep up and do stuff every week. But the main thing that we try to do every Wednesday is, since we live at the water, is we want to enjoy the water. So we get out on the boat, or go to the beach, or if it's snowing, then we'll go to the mountains and play in the snow. But something that is, or hang out in the pool. So we might work a little bit, maybe, till lunchtime or whatever. But, like when we get wrapped up here, it's going to be cigar o'clock, Water Wednesday on the boat. So
what are you guys doing? Just chill out, have some cigars, have a little bit of whiskey, take the boat out, have the kids jet or jump on the pull them on the
inner tube. Yeah, we don't. They're a little older now, but they, the two boys, they have their own boat. So now it's gotten to the stage to where either they're driving our boat and I get to just lounge around and actually enjoy the boat and not be the captain, or we'll work on, a couple of different things as far as teaching them boat safety and what the water markers mean, and the channel markers, and, how to anchor, all the different things you'd want to know. They teach me how to fish, but yeah, man, we get out there and just, unwind and unplug and knowing that it's going to happen. So if we don't get out at the beach on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, we know we always got Wednesday.
Let me tell you guys, just go on our social media. I haven't liked the place more than California until I went over to Dan's area, and I was like, man, I was like this close to moving. I'm still trying to convince my girlfriend to move with me. Like, I loved it out there, dude. It was awesome. And just thinking about being part of Water Wednesdays, I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I swear, it was awesome.
Well, you're not invited,
I think
you're not invited.
Dude. I'll start my own, and we'll just run into each other out in the water.
Bro, open invite.
It was such a good time, man. I'm not even playing. Like, it was awesome. And yeah, you have a beautiful place, right? Number one, you live in a beautiful town. Number two, the weather was perfect. Those sunsets were like next level. Your hospitality was amazing. So it just like the fact that you dedicate one day just for that, right? To hang out with family and friends, to me is like great. Most people won't even dedicate a day to go out on a date with their significant other. You dedicate an entire day to go out and enjoy what you've built, what you've grown. That's what it's about. Like, that's why I'm so like I'm getting excited talking about it, because not a lot of people do that. And you figured out, hey, look, we've worked our asses off for years.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about work, money. It's work, stop, enjoy, right? Live it. Otherwise, next thing you're going to do is you're going to look back and you don't know what the hell happened to your life, right? It's gone. Big ass bank account, but what happened, right? You actually take the time, you stop everything, and you go, hey, today we're doing this and nothing else is going to matter, right? We're going to spend time with the kids. We're going to spend time with the wife. We're going to spend time with the friends. We're going to spend time on the boat, and we're going to enjoy what we've built. And that's a big deal, man. That's a really big deal. A lot of people don't do that.
I appreciate that.
So
how long did it take you to do that, Dan? Because I'm in that like grind mode right now. Rafa's like, I get to see Rafa go out and enjoy stuff, and I'm like, I want to do that, but I'm like in this crazy grind mode. How did you balance that? And this is me just being selfish, asking you a question right now.
Yes, I mean this is the first year of Water Wednesdays. So I mean it took us Cassie and I worked together for 16 years, so you can definitely do it a hell of a lot sooner than we have. But it's one of those things when you grow up in Charleston. Most people have a goal of living on the water, and her and I have for 10 years. So we accomplished that early, and then it's just one of those things. Like as we continue to upgrade, eventually it was, we were going to have a short dock. Like my dock is literally like 10 feet long. So it's not like we've had other house where it was 500 feet long. So it's like an inconvenience to even walk the dock. But no, as somebody that would be working towards that, I think the main thing is figuring out what is your goal, and if it is having time for yourself or whoever's involved in your life, then figuring out, hey, listen, this is on my goal board, and figuring out how to get there, and then also figuring out what's your hard financial cost and what are your financial goals. There's a lot of people that as their income grows, so do their expenses, and that's okay to a certain extent. But if you're not stacking it, you need to really address that situation. But no, I think it's just a matter of having the mindset of work just has to fit in with your life, and knowing that there's so many ways, there's so much money out there, and there's so many different ways to make large sums of money, whether it's wholesaling or service industry, or it's endless, right? Real estate and or having a great W-2, but also having some investments or putting your money to work. A lot of different ways out there, but I would just say not getting sucked into the brainwashing of you got to work a 40-hour work week for somebody, and then eventually when you're 65 you'll be able to do what you want to do. Hopefully, if you played your cards right, you can do it a hell of a lot sooner than that.
Yeah, and Jesse knows I talk about this all the time, and I tell him all the time, dude, like, you're going to trade your time for your money. You got to put people in place to be able to do certain things for you so that you don't have to be the one doing it. Because, like, Jesse, you're in grind mode. Yeah. During grind mode, you should start figuring out how you can start delegating the work that you're grinding on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I think that happened. Like, I hired a new COO.
Yeah.
I hired out.
How long did it take you to do that? We talked about that for like 3 years.
It took me a while. But you're right. Dan, I'm like you, man. I'm running multiple different businesses at one time. So like the problem is, and this is where a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck, is they'll get people that are not qualified and they'll keep them because they're just, for me, it was just like, I don't want to have to go look for somebody else. And you'll have a low quality person doing a low quality job, which means I'm always double checking what they're doing. And even to this day, like I just hired a new COO, and I'll mention like, hey, did you do this? And she had to pull me aside and be like, hey, when you tell me to do something, or when you talk about doing something, like, just know it's going to get done. I'm not going to have to come back to tell you, like, oh, I'm a person of my word. And that's for me, hiring people that necessarily don't follow through what they say they're going to do. And it's a learning process for sure. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that I think too, is that a lot of people talk about like, yeah, I want to be sitting on a beach someday, just drinking margaritas and enjoying life. I totally get that. I want to do that too. But in reality, like when you build something, like that's going to take a long time. It could take time to do. And yeah, I definitely am in grind mode right now. But I like to see people like you that are, building different businesses. You get to, spend time with your family and stuff like that. And I think that's super important to do. And your kids are only young once, and you probably know how fast they grow already. Just in the time that since they were born, if you really think about it. You don't get that time back, man. You really don't. So I hear you on the, spending time when you can and doing things that are, to help you be mindful of your time. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And part of that is also, you got to get the experience, to be able to streamline things for yourself. Just like, having one great employee and one that's okay. It's like, all right, well, shit, firing people is not fun, but it's necessary. So, and it can be difficult when it's family and friends and, people that have worked with you for a while that, they get too comfortable. Again, that relationship unfortunately has run its course, and it's time to figure things out. And it might be better, for both parties. It might remotivate them to get their shit together, or become somebody else's problem.
Totally,
it's true.
Yeah,
it's part of growing and becoming a boss and becoming a manager, knowing when it's time to step in and make the hard decisions. You know, taking the time too, Jesse, just taking the time, right? Like we talk about it often. Pick a day and go, hey, this day is what I'm going to do, and that's it, right? And anything that lands on that day, it's not the end of the world. The business isn't going to fall, right? No one's going to cancel your contracts because you took one day off, right? You already have people in place that's handling an issue. You know, take the time every so often and just be like, hey, let me just sit down and appreciate what I've built, whether you're in grind mode or not. And I'm not just talking to you, Jesse, right? I'm talking to everybody because we this is a common theme in our podcast over the last like 70 something episodes. We bring it up every so often. Everybody's like, oh, we're just working so hard. We're working so hard. It's like, dude, you got to stop and just take a breath sometimes
Just
and
breathe.
go out and enjoy it.
It'll still be there when you get back.
100%.
Whatever it is.
100%. So Dan, this is a great conversation, man. We're going really well. We're getting to the top of the hour. So I want to ask you the same question we ask all of our guests. Being that this is the big break show, we want to know, did you have a big break in life? What was your big break? Did you have a defining moment that made you go from old Dan, you know, sports player to investor, or maybe something that made you be who you are today? Is there a big break? Did you catch a big break?
Well, there's, maybe a couple of them. I would say, but the most recent break would be meeting you guys. Meeting you down at was joining a mastermind that we had attended masterminds all of the previous year, and just random ones that we had seen people on social media. Oh, this might be good. This might be good. Not really having things we were interested in. Of course, that we were trying to go learn about trailer parks and learn about wholesaling and stuff of that nature. But joining the legacy group and then going in with the mindset that we're joining legacy group not to get a relationship with brats, but the network. And so I think for us, it was having access to that, and then having access to go to the one that we went to down in Beaufort. And so I think meeting you has definitely changed a lot of things for us. And then meeting Frazier. Because like I said, over the last year and a half, I've really taken a step back as far as my active daily job duties to figure out what having the time for myself means, and not just sitting around and drinking beers and drinking bourbon and smoking cigars, but actually utilizing that time to get healthy. And I shared with our group today, I signed up with Frazier, and he doesn't offer lifetime deals, and we were able to work out something where I'll be a lifetime client of his, and part of that is building the foundation with all the proper supplements and the intermittent fasting and the water intake, and then eventually we'll add in the strength training and all that stuff. But I've gone through some things with some gout and some neuropathy where, I don't really feel my toes. And so, we're at this stage in life where we've got financial freedom, but, having some physical restraints as far as, not feeling up for it. So getting my blood work done and then sending it to him and saying, hey, listen, like, the fuck is going on, and not just getting a true medical professional's opinion who says, oh, well, you need to get this and then come back. It's another $160 for your visit, or, hey, come back in 12 months, or no, like, hey, this needs to be like something we deal with daily. And so I would say my big break was having the availability to go to events, to meet all the right people, and then taking action, making the effort to make the connection, to be willing to give up alcohol, to live a long life. And, that's something that was a regular part of my day or of my week, and realizing that, that's something that's got to go. And here we are 3 weeks later, down 20 pounds and feeling great, and getting phenomenal sleep. So, it's it's something I've looked forward to. As being an athlete, you think you're invincible, and having different traumatic injuries along the way, and then just knowing that things are just compounding as far as a poor diet and sedentary lifestyle, and having money, I can go do what I want. I can go drink all the everything I want and eat all the everything I want, right? And then not really realizing that, you're not 25 anymore. You gotta make an effort. So, but yeah, man, that was really it, man. Getting around you guys and getting a little bit more religion in my life, and just focusing on me.
Yeah, I love that, man. I appreciate that a lot. Actually, it means a lot. I appreciate you saying that and sharing that with us. One of the common themes here is being around people and getting to know people and masterminding. Like I said it in the beginning. So, the fact that you brought that up, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Second question. This is something that we ask everybody, Dan, just so you know, something that somebody could take from this episode, learn and apply to their life, their businesses, whatever it is. What's that one suggestion that you can give to folks listening right now?
One lesson I would give would be, a couple, but I guess would be to have that abundance mindset that there's plenty of opportunity out there, whatever it is that you're working in. And there's a lot of people along your journey that want to help. There's a lot of people that once they get to a certain place in life, that's all they focus on is giving back and helping the next person. And then also just remember that work has to fit in with your lifestyle. Now some people will, be confused by that statement, but at the end of the day, why do you work so hard? It's, to create time for yourself and have enough money to pay your bills and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, if you can figure out how to generate enough revenue, to live a good lifestyle, and then also just it helps keeping your relationships healthy, and having, set times of when you're going to work, or, when you got to focus on certain things and not just work 24/7. So, and be at peace with your decisions. That's another thing. Like, I live a very peaceful life now. I mean, there was so many times that were so stressful figuring out, how to make ends meet and how to make payroll and, all those different things. But just knowing, just step back and spending time, reflecting on the bigger picture and just, being intentional of how I use my time.
Yeah.
I love that one. Yeah, that was great. I don't think anybody's ever said, be at peace with your decisions. That's a good one.
Be at peace. That's like the goal for everybody. Finding peace, right, Dan?
Because a different way you can also take that is, make a decision and stick to it. So many people waste so much time on a decision. Oh, I don't know if I should do it. Oh, it's too risky. Oh, I don't know if I can move forward. What if this happens? What if that happens? Look, weigh out the options, make the decision, and be at peace with what you decided, whether it's the wrong one or the right one. The decision's got to happen.
And part of that came again with somebody in Tim's group, Pat Precourt. The mindset guy is, that's what he talked about. He's like, people get so worked up about a scenario or a situation that simply doesn't exist. What if I fail? What if you don't? Or all this, this could go there, this could that. Just don't worry about it. It doesn't exist. And don't create situations like that where you talk yourself out of it. They just compound it. So
there's a saying that I love. I don't remember who I heard this from, but it's simple. You just ask yourself, what if I can? So many people are sitting there going, oh my God, what if it doesn't go through? Or what if I lose all this money? Well, what if you can though?
Yeah.
What if you can accomplish that? Mm-hmm. How's your life going to look? What if you can get that deal? What if you can start that business? What if you can quit that job? What if you can, right? Like that's just a big thing to think about. Most people never focus on the positive of what can come from something. They're always focused on the bad side of the downfall. Look, worst case scenario, what? You lose a couple $1,000. That's right. A big deal. But worst case scenario, you get them again and you've learned so much. But what if you don't lose that money?
Well, that's kind of part of my partnership, with Cassie and I, our partner in most of our businesses, he's a banker. And, most bankers are pessimistic. And so we went into this fourth hotel deal. Hey, well, he's like, well, where are we going to come up with the 1.5 or the $2 million delta? We got great terms as far as the seller finance. They're carrying $4 million of the loan at 5% interest only for 10 years. I mean, that's unheard of. You can't get that right now. And so, we are overpaying a little bit for the property, but the debt's so attractive, it ends up being a better deal. I said, man, that has been our weak point. So why don't we talk to somebody about doing the raise for us and giving up a little bit of equity and this and that? And so we kind of hemmed and hawed and was like, I just don't think anybody's going to do it. Or this negative outlook on it. And I was like, what if they do? And now here we are, 2 weeks later having this conversations, and it sounds like we're moving forward. How many more doors does that open up for us? Because we've been financially limited because we've been using, our own capital in all these deals. So now you start bringing in other parties or other partners. Now it's just going to, have to have that discipline of knowing, how fast we want to grow, how big do we want to grow, how much do we want to put on our shoulders? Because, like I told you guys, I mean, we can practically be done, if we want to. It's just we enjoy this stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things like you're right there. It could be the last deal, and it's like, well, shit, this opens up the door. We could do 10 more of these things in 12 months. But it'll open up opportunities for Rafa and I to go out and do one somewhere sooner than later. So I see that coming. I'm going to speak it into existence.
Me too, man. I appreciate that. I am way down for that 100%.
Super awesome. Dan, where can folks find you at?
Well, we're all over social media. We have a YouTube channel under Coastal Chronicles. You've got me on IG at Dan Tollens. There might be an underscore in there. Same on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter or X, whatever the hell they call it. So we're all over the place. The ones we use the most are IG and Facebook, and then the other avenues that we're pumping out are those other 3 channels there.
Dude, talk about really quick. Oh, wait. What's the best advice you've ever received?
I mean, I really got to go back to the thing that kind of, I wish you would have been there. It was at Paul Larson's event when Pat was talking about going down, creating these scenarios in your head of this negative mindset through situations that don't exist. And once you can kind of move past that of having an optimistic outlook on things, things will change for you. So I think the main thing was just have a positive outlook, have a can-do mindset, and being at peace with yourself. And once you can find that inner peace, man, life changes big time.
I love that, man. Okay, lastly, talk about your YouTube series, your TV series, because I didn't even know you had that, and I think it's badass.
Yeah, so it was so again, it's called Coastal Chronicles on YouTube, and we're putting together some little snippets from each episode. We're trying to figure out how to get that thing promoted. We've not really taken it to a network or anything like that, but I think it does have an opportunity to get picked up if we spend a little bit more money on marketing and getting the brand out there. But again, it kind of goes through, everything that you need to do, being a new investor. Again, it's 6 episodes long, kind of goes through everything. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to help anybody in any way. But again, it kind of goes through investing in single family, and then eventually kind of growing out your teams, and then how to utilize your money, either in buying symbiotic businesses or investing in things that kind of put your money to work, and then graduating from single family to commercial real estate, and then how to have a good partner and how to really utilize their talents and staying out of their way.
Yeah,
sweet.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, YouTube's a definitely something cool to tap into, especially if you're teaching people. So awesome, man. Dan, it's been a pleasure, man, talking to you. We've heard it all. I guess Rafa's gonna be moving out to he's gonna be living in your boat pretty soon, man. You're gonna wake up Wednesday, and Rafa's gonna pop out of the boat and just be like, "What's up? Water like, Wednesday. I'm ready here."
He's got it gassed up, iced down, ready to roll. Cigars are ready.
You got the Cubans rolled up, ready to rock. Right.
No, No, thank you guys for having me on. It's an honor to be here, and I appreciate you guys. Love what you guys are doing, and keep doing it, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, man. This was awesome. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.